Got JT the Pocket Watch up on the panel with us. What's going on,
Salute,
Pocket Watch?
JT. By your
JT?
grace.
Yeah, by
Hey,
my grace.
thank you for pulling me up. This topic is so important, especially for any potential content creators out there. You know, it's a fine line between trying to pull in hot topics, pop culture
Mm-hmm.
into your message so that people will actually pay attention. Because I mean, honestly, I'm talking about finance stuff on my channel. If I
Mm-hmm.
don't find an angle to pull in some sort of pop culture thing, then people are not going to really want to watch it if it's just dry. So that makes sense. But when you get to the point where you are chasing down any rumor, or you're making up imaginary beefs, you're going to get yourself sucked into a funnel of YouTube trolls that will destroy whatever potential channel you're trying to create. It's not sustainable. You'll end up going crazy. I mean, I'm doing a live stream tomorrow night
Mm-hmm.
over what's the pastor? I mean, pastor in Atlanta where before the billions is Jamal Bryant. I'm
Oh
Oh,
doing
yeah.
a live stream tomorrow about how he
yes.
was attempting to pull in a very hot topic, a pop culture thing by, bringing up, the late great Kevin Samuels into his sermon to try to fit a narrative of his message. And I'm just going to, I'm going to give him a little dose of what he was attempting to do with Kevin. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to do it for him and show him the proper way to do it, where you stay in context and you're not trying to be petty.
Hmm. Yeah. Now Jamal Bryant himself has been caught. He's a certified fraud. I mean, like everybody know. You just look up his name.
Yeah,
You know.
he's got some issues. I'm gonna pull up some documents tomorrow to kind of
Yeah.
go over his issues that aren't rumors, isn't something that I'm making up, no imaginary beefs or taking anything out of context the way that he tried to take things out of context
Right.
with Kevin Samuels. I'm gonna stay straight in line with what the documents say, and I'm gonna try to use it as a teachable moment for people of learning. Hey, this is what he did. This is what you need not to do so that you don't fall into the same financial problems as Pastor Jamal Bryant.
Right. I was
Yeah.
gonna put that video up as well because it's like people. It's like you would think a pastor would take some satire news and just run with it.
Oh,
But he knew what the congregation wanted because the congregation was mostly what?
yeah, absolutely not.
Mhm.
We can't forget that not too long ago, I mean, it must be a few years. I think this was when he was still in Baltimore. This
Mhm.
before Atlanta, when he was in Baltimore. He is known for trying to pull pop culture things into his sermons to get views. This
Mhm.
is a man who stood in the pulpit of God
Man of
and
the
said,
cloth.
these hoes ain't loyal. He said this in a church. He didn't say this like in an interview. He didn't say this when he was on the streets talking to the kids who needed something relatable. In the church with, sisters in their Sunday best, he said, these hoes ain't loyal. The man is a media whore. He wants attention.
JC.
He craves attention. And I'm going to give him a little attention that he
Let's
wants
say,
tomorrow.
all right. Looking
JC
forward
to use
to
a
it.
hard R.
9304.
Yeah, like forget monetization. Like, but you know what, Gail? That reminds me. I remember on Frank Gooden's channel on Life or Death, and we were watching Chef, and he was playing his character, and he was reciting the Bible. Right? He is a certified bad guy, and I think somebody in the chat said it's always funny how the bad guys are so tied to the church. They know every single word up in there.
Yes.
Now, I don't know, I don't know why that is, but Jamal Bryant is most definitely one of those bad guys who know everything about it.
Because he out there in the streets.
Yeah. I mean, he's a man that has so many personal issues. He can preach every Sunday into the day he dies by just addressing his own character flaws. He doesn't need to bring anyone else into his sermons. He has so many personal character flaws that he could preach on himself into the day he dies, and he'll be fine.
That's it. I'm gonna show that video too. That little clip of him talking about Kevin in particular regarding the fraudulent GoFundMe. You know,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Is that do you guys see how I think it's only one GoFundMe, but whoever it is who actually did this, it definitely needs to be taken down. The GoFundMe is absolutely 100% fraudulent, and I already know just because his name is Kevin Samuels' name is attached to it, some of the people are going to think it's legitimate, and they're going to sit up there and pay for it. And it's one of these types of frauds where I can almost guarantee you there's going to be some misspellings in the description.
Oh, absolutely.
And the reason why is because they're trying to get people to donate to it who don't care about all these things. Like, I don't care about misspellings and typos within the official GoFundMe for Kevin Samuels. That happens. You see it all the time on, especially with things financially. It happens to older people. It happens to people in the.
Before the bill, you hit it on the nose, man. When I went down the rabbit trail of fake gurus and online scams, it blew my mind when I learned that these internet email scammers, the Nigerian letters and all that stuff, it blew my mind when I realized they intentionally put typos into the email as a filtering tool because they know anyone that will ignore typos is a potential victim. Someone who is smart enough to see typos and be like, this doesn't look legitimate, even if they didn't have the typos in it, eventually they would have figured it out. Mm-hmm. The scammer is so smart that they realize I don't even want to waste my time on someone who would see a typo and realize this is a scam because I got more victims to get. They intentionally put bad grammar and typos in those scam emails because the people who are going to fall for it are the people who don't care about grammar, who don't realize that official documents should not read the way these things are reading.
Exactly.
Yeah, JT. JT, Gail, I know you guys have seen it. You ever put up a video or a community tab post and then all of the comments got a reply to it that says something like, check out my WhatsApp, hello fan. It says like, yes, all of this craziness in there.
Right.
It's like, it looks so strange. It's like, it's you, has your picture on it, has your name.
Everything.
Everything. But then what they do is they have like these weird symbols and all this other kind of stuff, trying to beat the algorithm because YouTube doesn't they do a good job of filtering, but some things gonna fall through the cracks.
Right.
And what happens is now you got to go through every single one of the comments, go to the reply and delete every single one of them because YouTube doesn't just hide every single comment that they do when you hide them from the channel.
Yeah, you got to go back through. You got to put them on your ban list and all this stuff. It's almost like a job, especially dealing with I got a finance channel. So when that troll bot says, "Hey, I got a great investment for you. Text me on my WhatsApp," and blah blah blah. I gotta jump on that because this person might actually think it's me, even though clearly I don't talk about anything like that within my videos. And if you were to deal with me, it would be through my firm, not some WhatsApp thing. I got to stay on top of it. So every time that pops up, I got to strike it down.
Yep. And you know what, JT? The way to handle that too, there's videos on how to, there's a script that you can run in order to go through your YouTube channel and delete it. But for my non-techie people, all you got to do is go through your YouTube settings, block words like investment. You can't say investment.
Good point.
You can't say investment in my channel. Unlike, unless you try to misspell it and all this other kind of have spaces and all this other kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
But those symbols, but words, the word investments, hello fan, stuff like that. You want to go ahead and have that as your block words. And then what happens is they're going to be filtered out into your held for review section for your comments. But yeah, that would be the easier way of handling that. But the only thing is, you have to encounter whenever one of these words were to come in, and also block any links from being used in your comment section.
Right.
Any links. I see this one thing that's going around now where it's like .uno or something like that. Like they'll say a comment that's like, it looks like they're trying to respond to your video. It's like, oh, you know, a great video. I love the part where you said this. Check out xxx.uno and all this other kind of stuff. And then you sitting here like, huh? Let me go ahead and click on it, or let me see what they're talking about, because it went through the cracks, and then you end up with a virus.
Man,
you know,
people got so much time to scam. It's just, my mindset is, if you got that much time to scam, you can just transfer that energy over to something legitimate. I mean, if I was a scammer on that level, I would straight up be going to big banks and say, listen, these are the things you need to look out for. Pay me as a consultant, and I can show you what scammers do. It's like, it just takes a little bit of a pivot of your imagination to turn a scamming skill into something legitimate.
And JT, one thing is, what makes it so bad is that these are not bots. These are people manually doing this. So they're copying and pasting this each and every time that you see it. And sometimes it'll be hundreds of comments that they're going through, spending all that time doing that on several videos.
That's ridiculous. I couldn't do it.
You know what? One of your videos that you had put out a little while ago with Orlando, both of you guys said it was this one woman who she was like scamming people, right? Like
the woman from Chicago. She has been lying and scamming since high school. Yeah.
And she put a whole bunch of time and energy into, I think it was the PPP loan or something like that.
She would put on 30% of the time and energy that she put into scamming, she would be a medical doctor making over $600,000 a year. This woman lied in high school and took pictures and everything, and said that she was Miss Illinois for her senior year. Like she had the sash and a crown and everything like that. Come on, man. A black girl from the south side of Chicago in like the late 70s or the early 80s, she wasn't Miss Illinois. Like, everyone would know that, but the lie was so big that no one would even question it, because they was like, why would she lie about something like that? But now with the internet, we can clearly see who was Miss Illinois for that year. It's just stuff like that. People who have that type of time and energy, if they just would, like I said, just refocus it. Well, I'm telling you, it doesn't matter what you do in the scamming world. You can flip it into something legitimate, even if it's just going to people and saying, hey, these are the things scammers do. Watch out for this. And you can get a big bag by going to multinational companies and saying, like the dude from the movie Catch Me If You Can. Like, and it took him a while to get it until they get handcuffs on him, but he was able to start working with the FBI and working with other companies to show people, this is how I used to scam y'all. This is what you can do to prevent other people from scamming.
Yeah, you know what, JT, is that, let me let you guys know this, is that apparently there is such a thing as a scam Bible. It's a so my little brother had shared it with me. It was like it's like a Google Drive link or whatever. You click on it, and then it has like a whole bunch of folders of ways to scam. So whether it's PayPal, whether it's Bank of America, where it was like a whole bunch of stuff up in there.
Yeah, see, I'm a little older. I remember when kids in school used to have a book called The Anarchist Playbook or something like that. It was like a book of a bunch of different little like scams and tricks. Like, it was a book that would even tell you how to. You can go to like a soda machine, and there were certain buttons you can hit on the soda machine to get free soda. Like little weird stuff like that is what people used to do. But now with technology, yeah, I guess you could just get a Google Drive and get a big list of all the different scams you could do. But yeah.
You're gonna end up sad when your credit messed up. You're gonna have to file bankruptcy because you're so in debt.
Yeah.
You can't get a bank account or anything. Man, let me tell you about this one scam right quick. Is that it is so it's so stupid, right? is that what happened was that I had a friend back in college, and then they really needed some money, right? So then they were like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? And then one of her friends had reached out to her, right? So what happened was, and it wasn't like a best friend, it was like somebody she knew.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened was she ends up proposing to her, like, hey, how about you give me your debit card information, and then I can go into your bank and I can pull out money using your debit card information, but more than what you have in your account. And then I'm going to pull out, they said like $5,000, right? So it's like $5,000 they pulled out from the bank. And they pulled it out and they gave her back her card. And then she got none of the money. And
they did that with a debit card?
With a debit card. I thought that was crazy.
I've heard of that. I've heard of that scam, but they normally do it with a check. They normally do it with a check where they'll give someone a check for, let's say, $5,000. The check is completely fraudulent, but they go somewhere, they go to their bank and they cash it. And the play is supposed to be, you give me $2,000, you can keep $3,000 of the check, but the check is fake, and then eventually it bounces, and the person in the bank wants their money back from the person who actually had the account. With a debit card, it seems harder because it instantaneously shows you if there's a balance or not. Now, if it's a credit card, then you might have a little flexibility, but that's a weird play. Now, I remember people who used to get gas stations. So this was a play for when you was broke. So all of you people who didn't go through the recession back in 2008, let me tell y'all what we did back in 2008 when we was broke, when the recession hit. So we would need gas to go wherever we're going. If you're lucky enough to have a job or be able to go get some money, you still need gas. And if it wasn't payday or you didn't have the money, you would go to the gas pump and run your debit card, because you don't have a credit card because your credit's probably shot. Run your debit as credit. Fill your tank up. And then hopefully by the time the money hits your account, you won't be overdraft for too long.
They only hold $1.
Right.
Yeah. They let you go. You need at least have $1.
If you got something in there, that'll get your tank full for the rest of the week, hopefully, to get you back and forth to work.
Yeah. Did you guys see that they were putting gas on layaway?
They got gas on pay after. They got pay after gas.
Yeah, it's like something like that. I thought that was crazy. But when gas prices got up to like $4 and stuff, I was like, dang.
Yeah,
I'm glad I'm a data engineer, but
I'm glad I don't need it.
Yeah.
So I do it with my firm. I do a lot of my credit card processing through Square. And Square, maybe a couple of months ago, said, now they have pay after, or whatever it's called, afterpay, with Square. So you can send, like, I could send a client an invoice, and they can use afterpay to pay my invoices now, because Square, if you use Square for your credit card processing, now they do afterpay with it. But that to me is like, come on, if you at the point where you gotta make a payment plan on your financial advisor's invoice, it's tough. You're doing pretty bad.
Yeah, Ike over here talking about the good old debit is credit card.
Right.
The good old debit is credit, right?
See, I've been balling. He ain't had those struggles. I don't think I can't have those problems back during the recession.
Yeah, I heard about what these poor people do.
I think now, though, they got to where they start authorizing like an $80 hold.
Oh, okay.
Gas pump, I believe.
Ooh,
now
$80.
that may be only for debit instead of credit, but
Woo.
nonetheless, they want to see how much is they
Yeah,
want to
unless you pay in advance. Like if you go in there, go into the cashier and say, "Hey, take 50 out of this card for pump 12." But other than that, yeah, you can run it up. You can fill that tank up.
Yeah, you know what? And JT, I know what you might say, but I don't use my debit card for anything, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, credit card.
Credit card because it gives you the extra protection.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, because when there's a lot of hoops you got to jump through. I mean, when you do it with your debit card, I mean, worst case scenario with a credit card, you're only limited to $50, right? So if there's a fraudulent charge on your credit card and you're able to show this it's a fraudulent charge, you're only going to be limited to $50 maximum. Normally, in a general case, you're only going to be limited to $50. The rest is going to be took care of. But yeah, it's just that some people, to me, it's like alcohol. Some people can go out from time to time and drink occasionally and have fun and not be addicted. And other people, the second they take a sip, they're a wino, they're drunk for the rest of their life. And that's what happens with credit cards. Some people have the fiscal ability to just say, oh yeah, I'll use the card and pay it right off. Other people, that card will be maxed out within 20 days and they don't plan on paying it back. So that's the only thing. Is like in a perfect world, I would say, yeah, that makes sense. Everybody should do that. But I just live in a reality where some people, you put a credit card in their hand, that's not their money they're spending, and they don't have to pay it back. That's a little voice in the back of their head. So I'd be like, there's only a select few clients, especially athletes and entertainers. Credit cards is not their money. They don't care. They don't have to worry about it because they imagine that big check is coming in 30 days anyway. But when the big check don't come, what do we do? And you got $40,000 on a credit card.
Oof.
They just push it.
No income. And you know what? Some people be like, if God don't do it, it won't get done. Like, it won't get done. But yeah, I know some people like for a fact who are in some credit card debt. They like, or some student loan debt, especially they get into like $40,000-$50,000 student loan debt. They like, nope, I ain't even using the degree.
Right.
So,
yes. Yeah. That's a big issue. That's a big issue. Well, all right, crew. Gail, once again, thank you. I mean, I really, every time you bring me up, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for your channel, the content you create, and obviously, being one of the hardest working moderators on YouTube. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming up and sponsoring tonight's stream. All right. You got the number one spot.
All right. Yeah. Have a great night.
All right, by your grace, JT. Salute.
All right.
But I always say, BTB, if it weren't for the scammers, I wouldn't have a job. And I be fussing when I'm working a case or something. I'm like, how you fall for this? But I'm like, you know what? If it wasn't some people who were a little slow and some people who were, adamant and persistent, I probably wouldn't have a job.
Yeah, it's a never-ending amount of people who are going to scam or whatever it is. Same thing for like cybersecurity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there is this saying, right? When you are working in cybersecurity, they say companies are hacked. They just don't know it yet. And what happens is that a lot of the scams that you see will be something called social engineering.
Social engineering.
So if you got that mouthpiece, if you can speak, matter of fact, you ain't even gotta be able to speak the language well. You just gotta be able to, I can say a few words in English or whatever. Yep, I got my script ready. Then some people will give you some money still. Yeah. Man, I had I know this lady, she's an older lady, right? Mm-hmm. And what happened was that she got a phone call, right? And the phone call, she missed it. She missed the phone call. So then she saw, she's like, I don't know this number, but let me go ahead and call it back. She calls back the number, and the number is saying, hey, who is this? She's like, oh yeah, my name is such and such, right? She was like, they were like, oh yeah, we called you to let you know that you owe us. It's like $200, $300, something like that. If you do not pay us by tomorrow, you're gonna end up and we're gonna call the police on you. All right, so they do this for older people, especially. And she got so scared. She was like, what am I gonna do? And it was crazy is that you had to give them your information because they didn't even know who you were. So yeah, they ended up telling her, oh yeah, you gotta go to CVS or Walgreens. I think it was preferably CVS. And then what you do is you get a gift card. And on that gift card, you load it up with a whole bunch of money. And you buy it at the front. And you just tell me the numbers that are on that gift card. And the reason why they do that is because if you buy a gift card, there's no way you can get your money back. A gift card that's it. When you purchase this, it is going to be something that you cannot get your money back from. Mm-hmm. You pretty much that's it. And you're gonna be sitting over there sad because you may not have known about this kind of scam. So I feel bad for the people, especially the older generation who may fall for this. Now you may see it where at CVS and Walgreens, they have like a sign posted that says, hey, be aware of this scam. It's a fraudulent scam that says do not buy gift cards. There's a lot of scams for people. Only buy gift cards for like your family members or, somebody's birthday, whatever it is. Don't just give somebody all the information over the phone. Because that's your hard-earned money. Right? Imagine you sit up there and, you spend 40 years working. And then after 40 years of that hard sweat and labor, you sit up here and you give your hard-earned money to somebody who didn't even deserve it. And now you got to go back to work. I know this one lady who, it didn't, like that specific thing didn't happen to her, but she didn't have any money saved up for retirement. And she used to work with me in the warehouse. And this was like during the summer, extremely hot. She had to work because she had to take care of her family still. And she was like in her like late 60s. And she said she didn't have no car. So she used to walk and go to the bus. And she was working full shift. And she ended up fainting right next to me one day. And it's because she was just working too hard. So, you have to put yourself in the best health, but also you got to put yourself in the best financial situation as well. Mm-hmm. You don't want to be caught up in, these scams for no reason. You don't want to be caught up and now you got to work at, almost 70 years old, mm-hmm. And then yeah. And you ain't making no money.
But what can you do at that age,
Yeah, exactly. I know this one guy, he actually, on the flip side, there is one guy who retired in his 60s, and he used to work at Microsoft. And he said, after 2 weeks of retirement, I have a new job at Google. So you have the flip side as well, where there's like people who just are bored with retirement. Mm-hmm. But I would much rather, if you get up to that age in your 60s and 70s, to be like, oh, you know what, I just want to work just to have something to do, versus having to work because your family doesn't have any money.
Right. And Kareem mentioned the IRS scammers. It's like, I don't understand, like every year people fall for this around tax time. Like IRS will never, ever, 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 ever call you.
Yep.
They'll never call you. So if anybody ever say I'm the IRS and you owe X, Y, and Z, it's someone I really thought she was very smart. I don't really want to pick on people like that. I don't want to pick on her, but it's like I thought she was, up on her game. And she went and sent someone claimed to be IRS and claimed that she owed some money. And she knew that she owed IRS. It wasn't that she was avoiding the debt. But she was, and she, okay, well, yeah, I know I owe the money or whatever. And they sent her to Western Union out of all the places. It's like, ma'am, did you really not know better than to do that? And
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
get
that's what
it. Come
happened.
on, you know they're not gonna send you to the IRS, and that's all you gonna call you. Don't pay them and see what happens.
Hmm.
Like when I get paid, I get one from PayPal all the time for some reason. Yeah, oh, your account's been frozen. You're gonna have to like what? Yeah, all right, whatever. But anyway, I still go and just check, but I don't use a link within the email.
Yeah, you don't want to click on links.
No links.
Click,
Never click on a link. Never.
yeah, clicking on links will have you sitting over here with a virus, or what'll happen is that they will route you to a similar type of website. You think it is PayPal, and then when you click on it, they will either get your login information when you like sign into a form, or what they can do is they can track you based off of your cookies, off your cookies that you have that follow you throughout your time on your computer. And if they can track that, you sign into one of the other forms, or sign into like Instagram, sign into PayPal, whatever it is, then they can get that information as well. And they know when you click on those links, they have some code behind the scenes that will be able to tell them, right? They'll be able to trigger it, then say, "Oh, okay, such and such clicked on it." You're muted.
I'm reading Kareen's comment. She said, another scammer told me they are investigating me because some vehicle was rented in her name, and they found it with the smell of decomposing body. She said, I told him, well, they would never find the body.
Yeah, it's decomposing already.
Call about your car's warranty. I'm like, oh, I'm so sick of those calls. I block all of them. They keep calling different numbers. And they try to use the same area code as mine, or the same area code, and a similar number. Is like, come on, I'm not. We don't do them kind of games. I ain't the one. You just scam. Let us send you to Western Union. They do, and they will. And folks fall for like people still go to Western Union. That's the other thing. I think I sent money to Africa. I had to go to Western Union, and they have another little system too outside of Western Union that's similar to that, but a little bit cheaper. That you can send money overseas. But outside of that, I don't use Western Union. We got cash out. We can wire from our bank to bank.
Yeah, I don't use Western Union either. Like who? Well, I don't know anybody who uses Western Union at all. I mean, like, I think that like people in jail probably might use. I don't know.
You put them on their books or something.
Yeah, I have never seen anybody actually use Western Union ever.
Right.
But no, I can't say ever, but like probably when I was like a little kid.
Lately.
Before it. Yeah. Done for me.
This is Gail at Night. Thank you all for watching, and thank you for supporting. Be sure to click the like button and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and set the bell to all.